My name is Jasmine Hall, and I'm the web director at Maximize Digital Media. Graphic design to me is creating a visual communication between a business and a client and speaking to their demographic and their audience. When I first started college, I went to a community college for elementary education. And in my last semester, I dropped out and I didn't go back to school for another year. And then I saw an advertisement on a bus for Keiser University, and I decided to go check out their degree programs. And with that, I found out that there's a graphic design degree offered in the area. So I decided to go ahead and partner something that I did as a hobby as a career, and I think it's been working well so far. My favorite color is lime green, and I have no reason why. It just looks nice. I don't discriminate. I love all colors. They all have their purpose. My favorite font actually is not Helvetica. It is Gill Sans. It is popular with PDQ branding, for instance, and that's a big font that I've been using lately. Comic Sans, Papyrus, and Apple Chancery. With web design, it was more of a no-brainer for me. With graphic design, there's a lot of elements that I still use in web design, but I've been coding websites since I was 11. I started coding HTML websites hand-coded from scratch, and with that, I was able to develop my skills as I grew up as a hobby. So past that, it was just a no-brainer. It was the easiest choice, and the best part of all, nobody in my graduating class was seeking a web career. So that made it very easy to go find jobs. The pros about my job is that Maximize Digital Media primarily focuses on smaller businesses and smaller businesses in the Lakeland area. The con side of that is that our clients don't always have the assets that we need. We often have to write content. We often have to send photographers out to go get pictures, and we do a lot of the grunt work of getting their brand up to date so we can build them a website. Main pro that I like is I love what I do. I love going downtown and knowing I made a website for that person, for that person, for that person, and I did it in a budget that they can afford and that they generally appreciate.
My name is Ned Rodriguez from Studio Time Media. I am a graphic designer and multimedia consultant. My most challenging project was a project where, of course, someone told me that it couldn't be done. I just had this crazy idea that I wanted to vinyl wrap holographic vinyl on my Kawasaki Ninja. I purchased my own holographic vinyl. You know, let's do some heat to it. It should wrap around these contours. So just as I continue to think and drive, and sometimes I'm driving long distances, I'm thinking to myself, like, it's not impossible. There's something that can be done to wrap this sport bike in holographic vinyl. I started thinking of snakes and fish and just anything that had scales. Those scales are on the body of these animals that are contoured. And so then I created a design, which then of course was just one repetitive design of a scale over and over onto the vinyl. And eventually you have a negative of the vinyl and a positive of the vinyl. And so we pulled off the negative that was cut. It literally took, days of cutting. This plotter just cut and cut and cut, it never stopped. And then to actually peel that as well, you have to peel that and then not have the other little pieces of vinyl come off of the backing. There you go, that's the right word. And so the hours that was put into that as well, and then whatever else was had to be done. Days later, I finally finished and I take it back to the shop. They were the first guys that were out there like, oh my God, I can't believe this was done. They were just taking pictures left and right.
My name is Oscar Hines. I am the graphic designer at Legoland, Florida. Well, our creative process it's a pretty big process. I mean, it starts with idea and concept. We have a bunch of people at our theme park that request collateral, whether it be collateral signage in the park, website content, and from there we assess what's needed and we get to work. I don't know if I have a favorite, but I mean, if I had to choose one to live with for the rest of life, probably be illustrator. I'd like to say that I've always been a designer, really, because I can remember as far back as my first report card and just scribbling pictures of Power Ranger robots on the back of them, and I think that's just always been in my mind. Like, that's what I want to do for the rest of my life, just do something creative. That's what I really like to do. Pictures, my daughter. She kind of resembles Shirley Temple, so it's always fun.
My name is Dawn Ziegler. I work at Thomas Printworks. I do a range of graphic design, print work, layout, ads, and computer-aided drafting. I'd have to say a commercial I did for a friend of mine's CD rock and roll store. Graphic design is expression. It's what you want it to be. It's an emotion, it's a desire, it's a passion. It's whatever you make it your own to be. Best part of the job? Payday. Looking at people's faces just to see that it's done right, it looks great, and to see it hanging up on a facility or a stadium or anything like that, it definitely makes you feel so good.
My name is Jackson Tejada. I've always been creative as long as I can remember. I remember as a kid I would divide my time between writing and drawing and music. I finally just landed on drawing as a way of making a living. I work for the advertising department in Badcock and Moore Furniture. We do the inserts that you get in the mail every 2 weeks. We also do ads for the newspapers on an as-needed basis. Sometimes I find just ignoring it is sometimes the best thing to do, or like going to bed, going to sleep, just resting on it for the day, because I find that my subconscious tends to work on the issues even while I'm not, and then I come back to it fresh and seem to just get right through it with no problem at all. So it's just really helped me to appreciate things, I think, a lot more.